way to 81 today, and we asked that perennial question that we ask every Monday.
Where in the world is Maggie McDaniel? Where in the world is Maggie McDaniel?
Dave, we found her.
I've looked to the left, I've looked to the right, and she's right in the center. Hey, there she is. It's Maggie McDaniel. Good morning, Maggie. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing great. It always amazes me how well that song sounds when Dave's lips aren't moving.
Yeah, I always sound better when my lips aren't moving. Let's be clear.
That was the
Yes.
that was the 12th take, by the way.
Yeah. No. So hopefully everybody's
Maggie,
doing well.
big day, big day yesterday. St. Clair, one of the favorites around here, and so we thought we'd take a little tour of Assisi today.
Yeah, no, and then actually in a couple months we'll be heading there with Father Joseph Puggermeyer's group. You know, Assisi, I think once you've been on a pilgrimage and you've gone there, that's one of the places that everybody says it's their most favorite place. You know, we leave Rome, we're in the Umbrian Hills, and as you come to approach it, you see this beautiful white medieval town, all out of white stone, just about halfway up the mountain, and there's just something really spectacular, special, and holy about it. And getting inside the walls then, and just being in there, there's a true sense that kind of overtakes you of peace and holiness, reverence, the faith, the whole thing. But, you know, St. Clair was a follower of St. Francis. When St. Francis started preaching, she was also from a wealthy, noble family, and she wanted to follow him. And actually, her parents weren't fond of it. They wanted her to marry. Well, I think it was on a Palm Sunday, she went down and with St. Francis down the Porciuncula, which is just down in the valley at Santa Maria degli Angeli. And she had her hair cut off and put on a simple robe, and she asked St. Francis, you know, to help her live the way of the gospel that he was preaching. And so eventually the order of St. Clair's began, and she was the original foundress, and she ended up living in San Damiano in the convent, which is just outside the walls, and that actually is where she died, but that's actually the same place where our Lord spoke to St. Francis saying from the crucifix, rebuild my church. So that's where the Clairs ended up living, and where she died in that convent, right there, right outside the city. So it's really spectacular. And in your reflection, you were talking about the Eucharist and whatnot. You know it's real. She defended against people come attacking Assisi in the wall. She put the Blessed Sacrament on a monstrance on the wall and prayed, and they turned away. So
terrified.
Absolutely terrified. So, you know, our Lord is real. He protects us, and just her faith and knowing this wasn't some like, oh gosh, I hope it works, you know, and that this is real. She knew it was real, and it was. So
the reality
it's spectacular.
is if the attack had continued, not only was that a threat to Assisi, that was a threat to her own monastery and the sisters under her charge. And their purity and all that. So she knew the solution to that was the Eucharist. We have many instances of miracles associated with the Eucharist. This one's a bit unique. I mean, it's not the Eucharist turning into flesh and blood. It is the power of the Eucharist to turn back an entire invading army.
Absolutely. And she now is, though, up in the city, in the walled city, the Church of St. Clair, and she's entombed there. You can see her body there. So that's where the Clairs, they're still there, and you can go like for Vespers or prayers, and you can hear their beautiful voices singing, and that's actually where the cross is that spoke to Francis is hanging in that church. And so in the convent now in San Damiano is men who are living there now, the friars living down there. So absolutely beautiful place to go, very prayerful, very spiritual, and it's, like I said, people say my favorite place was Assisi.
Yeah, and look, I've not been, we've talked about this, I've not been to the Holy Land. I've been to Italy, I've been to France, I've been to a couple of places. No place more impressive than Assisi.
No,
I mean, when you're there is still just some kind of presence honoring both St. Francis and St. Clair. It really is a place set apart.
It is. And, you know, we like to stay a couple nights there because during the day it can get pretty busy with groups coming, because a lot of groups would just come and visit for the day. So then in the evening, when you see the sun setting and it's over the valley and with the mountains behind you and the peacefulness of it, you say, I get it. I know why they lived here. And, they actually had like a little hermitage up in the mountain, too, that we've taken groups to visit, where he would go up the mountain to pray up farther. And then, the Portiunculu down below, which was the Benedictines gave it to him. There's still the tradition of trading the oranges on the day that it turned it over, because it was a Benedictine church. Because you're talking about the 400s for the Benedictines, and you're talking about the 1200s for the Franciscans. So they gave that church to St. Francis.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never been. I know this would be a great time to make a pilgrimage with CatholicFaithJourneys.com. Personally, I've been to Little Italy, but that's not the same. That's really just that's a lunch experience.
Yes. Come to the real Italy with us, yes.
Thank you, Maggie.
Yeah, God bless, guys.
Thank you, Maggie.
We'll be right back here on Morning Offering.